Hi everyone,
Hey peer subscribers.
my name is Fred Burks and many of you probably know me. I have been doing this work with peers and want to know.info for 20 years now. And it was really my life's mission and just a deep calling. I even got obsessed with it at times, working many hours, because as those who follow this work know, it's really important and it's information that so few are aware of. Yet by using reliable, verifiable information, we've done a really good job of reaching key people, key influence makers, and making a difference in our world. And yet now, after 20 years, I'm feeling pretty complete with that mission. And I'm super excited that thanks to a wonderful donor back in 2021 who gave us a large gift, we're able to hire this amazing new young woman, Amber Yang, who is stepping in. So I want to introduce you all to Amber, and I'm going to let her introduce herself here.
Awesome. Thanks, Fred. I'm happy to be here. I represent a new generation tasked with needing to create new forms of activism that can address the complexity of our times and the massive challenges of our times. A question I hold is, how do we create activism that is truly inclusive of different perspectives rather than the ongoing culture wars we see playing out in our society right now, where many of us are just distracted and divided, and we might find it's hard to solve our collective problems together. So how do we change that? This is the journey I've been on. And for me, I've been climbing this ladder of insight and growth and activism on many different fronts. And on my journey, I really woke up to the darkness of the world. When I worked with Project Censored as a student researcher and then a faculty evaluator, we wrote news stories not being covered by corporate mainstream press. And I learned a lot about the deeper corruptions and abuses that continue to stay hidden from the public. And then working with Safe Tech International, where we focused on big tech issues, wireless radiation technologies, and the ways that our very own government agencies get captured by corporate interests over the interests and health of the people.
One of the reasons I'm super excited to have Amber on board is because she still comes from a place of optimism. And I call myself an eternal optimist. Even though we've looked at some of the deepest, darkest skullduggery happening on this planet, I know that there's a bigger picture, that there's somehow a reason for everything.
Yep, and that's something that I saw in my 6+ years working in the public education system too. And I did a whole range of things. I mentored youth with significant mental health challenges. I ran a wellness center at a high school. I did a lot of mediation work, and I helped rehabilitate students that were coming in and out of the juvenile hall systems. And then I also taught nonviolence and holistic health studies at San Francisco State University. And in all these diverse spaces, I woke up to not just the darkness and the dysfunctions in our institutions, but also the massive goodness of people, in spite of, and actually maybe because of the darkness of the world.
Yes. Yeah.
That something that feels really true to me in my activism is the deep faith in human goodness that keeps showing up. Like everything I know and want to know knows is like made possible by the people that devoted their lives and risked their lives to informing the public about these important societal issues that many people may not know about fully. That was a game changer for me. Because sometimes when you're looking at these issues, it feels like your whole reality starts warping towards only seeing the worst in humanity and the worst of human failures and corruption.
And you can get into a vicious cycle where you're looking for conspiracy everywhere, and then that's all you see, and you just get lost in that.
Right, exactly. And that's why I realized too that we can't figure our times out alone. And I think that dissent and conflict is incredibly natural and actually healthy in complex systems. And it doesn't have to result in us doubling down in our own echo chambers as activists, but also doesn't need to result in us buying into authoritarian systems of censorship and narrative control that we see in our media systems right now. And this is what led me to attain my master's degree in organizational development at Sonoma State, where I studied like how people and groups work together, and the skills, tools, and practices we need to foster human collaboration and creative problem solving.
I've been training Amber now for over 6 months, and she's a fast, wonderful learner. And as you know, some of the information can be pretty shocking, and she's digested it well. And also love that she comes from a spiritual base, that we're looking at the place that every one of us has a heart, and that even the power elite that is manipulating things, you know, if we knew all their background and what it was that brought them to who they were, you'd have some sort of understanding and maybe even have compassion.
Right.
And that we want to work to have compassion for everyone, even as we stop the destructive behaviors. And I love that Amber shares that commitment with me. So Amber, I'd love to ask you, what is it that you would like to bring to peers?
Great question. Well, I hope to bring more engagement, you know, on multiple levels. Engagement with some of my generation to start waking up to these issues, engaging people with some new content. I'm in the process of developing some online pages for constructive solutions for the societal issues we face, media literacy skills that anyone can take to their lives to navigate the information landscape, and creating videos on...
Like this.
Yes, right, like this one right here. Creating videos on like important topics, maybe interviews, news updates, and just engaging people with a new look for our websites. So looking at redesigning aspects of wanttoknow.info, and just noticing the power of what art and aesthetics can bring to help us synthesize all the information we provide our readers. We have a lot of different information. And something we're doing right now is we've integrated some more independent media sources in our Tuesday newsletters. We really specialize in using reliable and verifiable information to talk about issues that aren't often talked about. And so we want to call in the trustworthy independent journalists of our times that often provide that broader spectrum of perspectives that may not show up in our corporate platforms. So that's something we're doing, and you know, we've got a great team that we're working with, like Mark Bailey, who does our news summaries for our Tuesday newsletter.
And we have so many subscribers and supporters who send in amazing information that help tremendously with our work, and thank you to everyone who has done that.
Yes, I've known you for like 5 years now, and I've also seen like the scope of Peers and Want to Know, and it really feels like you've maintained your integrity around that vision of yours and stayed true to your deepest values despite the unfolding realities that we keep facing in our society right now with some of the darkest players in our society.
Well, I've been committed from the beginning. You know, I didn't find out about all the sort of kind of really hidden craziness going on in the world until 2001. And it was a shock to me, but I've been committed that if we're going to expose people to this very dark underbelly of our world, that it's important to also balance that with some super inspiring things. You know, polarization is what's been used to divide us. And when we look at, there's always, how much can I step into your shoes and understand where you're coming from? How much can I step into the shoes of the US president? One of the great sayings I love to remember is, don't believe everything you think.
I like that. Yes, there's another quote that reminds me, the greatest obstacle to truth is thinking you know it.
That's great.
Being open to possibility and different ways of seeing the world and different ways of thinking about the world, I think that alone can attract many different possibilities. It can create connections where there were none. So I feel like at Peers and Want to Know, we're really practicing that humility and that open mind to just play with all the possibilities of what it means to be human together.
Yes.
The darker parts of humanity and also the more aspirational parts of humanity.
Each of us have choice how much we buy into the narrative that is being fed to us. And we can create our own narrative. And I just love when I look at my close friends in life and Amber, it's like, we're actually loving our life overall. I know about some of the deepest, darkest things going on in the world, and yet among my friends, I have amazing relationships. I'm committed to finding more love and deeper connection and compassion with everyone. And anyone can choose to do that. Even if you've had a really rough upbringing, Amber had some tremendous challenges in her childhood that she overcame. And we can always choose love and connection and compassion. And that's the hope that I want to leave you and us with. And just thank you for joining us in this journey, and thank you for all your support of this wonderful organization. And again, inviting you to welcome this wonderful woman who is stepping up and so thrilled to have her taking over this wonderful organization.
Oh, that's beautiful. I'm so excited to see what's next. We've got some work to do.
Yes, we do.